So welcome to Apollo's first Fireside chat for 2023. Today we welcome Aaron, the founder of Ambl, the app helping spontaneous people find last-minute bookings and reservations. So thank you for coming on the show, Aaron.
Thanks, Tom.
Awesome to have you. The first question we've got today is what inspired you to start your own company, Ambl?
I've always wanted to do my own thing, and I wouldn't say that I was always sitting there trying to find an idea for a business. I had tried that and it just didn't work. The idea came around when my manager asked me to book a table for 6 of us for that evening coming back from COVID. And it was that instant effort, the convoluted touch points and the hassle of doing so, that I just said out loud, why can I not just say 6 of us need a table and broadcast it out and the restaurants can see us and just say, yes, you can have it, like Uber. And then my friend turned to me and went, that's a really good idea. And I went, yeah, it is. And it was that moment where it was almost like nothing else mattered other than I have to pursue this. And then everything sort of changed after that.
It's a pretty simple idea, I suppose, when you think it's very similar to Uber. It sends out this pulse, it sends out this message. I feel like it's one of those ideas a lot of people will think,
why hasn't it done? Yeah.
Why hasn't it been done?
Why hasn't it been done unless someone's got to have done it?
Exactly.
Right. So then I spent a week after trying to find that app from everywhere and no one had done it.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And now I understand why.
The second question, can you tell us a little bit about your background and when and how you got into the tech industry?
Yeah, I mean, I was never in tech before. I've always been interested in it. I was a nerd, I was a bit of a gamer. I understand tech and things that come out and whatever. I was in finance. I literally left school at 17 and went straight into London and just took the first sales job I could get and just worked in the same industry for 10 years, different companies, and worked my way up. I had a very good career doing so. So getting into tech and starting a tech business probably took longer and I learned a lot more, but I was very open to doing so. And now, very much in that space, obviously launching the app.
Amazing. So can you describe the actual concept and functionality of Ambl? How does it differ from anyone else in the market?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So obviously the initial idea was to broadcast out, I need a table, and the restaurants actually go, yes, you can have it. So there are similar booking sites out there and things that get you discounts and whatever. I guess the difference for us is obviously we want to pay on the venues. Obviously we want them to drive as much revenue as possible. And there's a last minute gap that we saw and not sort of the future space. So actually going into venues and saying, look, we want to drive footfall. Everyone that stands out on the street or they've got signs outside, we're basically replacing that with tech, right? And the main difference is obviously venues have no idea who's looking at their venue online or walking past it or anything like that. And essentially what our app does is allow venues with the platform that we've built is to see people in the area that are actually looking for a table and can either ping them and say that we're free or see when they go, I want something, they get that immediate response back. So that's our marketplace that we're establishing.
Now, I had a lot to do with it. I suppose my company, Hyper and Apollo, helped you a lot when it came to the user experience. So I suppose, can you explain from a user experience perspective how easy, primary focus obviously was a couple of clicks.
Yeah. It has to be.
Do the work for the consumer.
It has to be.
So explain, I suppose, the user experience. What buttons do they need to press and how easy it is?
Going back to the last question you asked about, I hadn't been in tech before, right? So I knew from a tech perspective that the apps I use are the Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber, Get Here, whatever, i.e. 1, 2, click, and what I want arrives. So when I've been on booking apps before, it's fill out the people, time, date, card details and all this, and I'm going, that's too much. Whereas what we wanted to do is just say, number of guests, time you want, boom, and you get the response, and it's just done like 2, 3 clicks and you get that. So applying a very naive way of thinking about tech to this has actually kind of worked because actually users pick it up and actually the tutorial for them is not non-existent. They know straight away how to use it, and that's been the quite good thing about the app.
I was actually out 2 nights ago, and I used Ambl.
Here we go.
And just the response from friends that see there's a couple of clicks, all of a sudden the work being done for us. And I was in the city of London, and there was 42 restaurants within 30 seconds that were going to accept me.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing watching that feedback.
It is, and it's great. And it's also the restaurant partners, I'm sure we'll talk about that, but the restaurant partners are so behind it because it's driving a really good customer. These aren't people that are looking for deals or have a discount, or, you know, these are good customers that are going, I need something. So the customer's like, yes, I've got something what I want in no time. And the venue is going, I've just filled a table. I love this customer. So you get a really nice sort of experience when you go to a venue, because they know you're coming, they're ready for you, and you're filling that gap that they would have otherwise lost. Because in the restaurant space, obviously, if the more a table or anything's not there, they're not getting money for it. And obviously, for the last thing we want to do is walk around London that's cold 7 months of the year going, where am I going?
Exactly. I remember having a phone call with you, and it was when we realised time.
Yeah.
We're saving the consumer
That's it.
time. We're saving them 20 minutes, right? 30 minutes, even an hour calling venues.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. So the next question, and probably the question most viewers want to hear, is how did you raise £2 million? And let's start with rewinding 12 months.
Yeah.
You know, what was your outreach strategy? Who did you call? How did you get onto 5 or 10 investors? Explain that a bit.
I bet that anyone who's thinking of starting a business or wants to start a business probably puts off doing so because of, well, how am I going to get the money? But once you've got an idea that makes sense, the story's right, it's been validated and it's going to make money, or the model makes sense, then actually getting the money isn't difficult, because people who have money want to invest in these things and have the money to do so. So if you put something good in front of them and you're confident enough and it actually makes sense what you're saying, then raising money, yes, is difficult, and especially the climate we're in, it is difficult, but actually that's all you can do. So if your business is ever going to work and you can do those first 4 things and showing you've got something that's going to work, the last thing is raising money, and then you've got your business. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the process was, well, it's non-stop. As a founder, you've got a great team with the money you get, and it's just constantly raising and making sure that you've got that runway and that cliff just stays as far away as possible. You know. And
I mean, you're most founders are always trying to raise 500 first, or 2 million, or 3 million. Were you looking for small check sizes? Were you accepting capital from any investor?
It's a good question, because our first check we raised from our chairman and seed investor was 100 grand.
Yeah.
And that was the most surreal moment, where that hit the account and you're going, I've never seen that much money before. Yeah. After that, when you start to realize how much time you're putting into the business and the conversations you need to have, you'll be looking at minimum check sizes that are still quite large, because it's just not worth the time. Then you get really good at understanding who is actually serious about investing as well.
Yeah.
But the first one's the most important one, because it actually allows you to build your business over a bit of paper and a bit of conversation. You actually can build. I mean, that's when we came straight to you guys. We then had enough to get us through the first initial program to develop and get our product start to build. So that was the most crucial one, because actually then start to build a business.
Now, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ask you this question, but I'm going to. What was the first thing you said when 7 figures hit your bank account? When 7 figures, £1 million, was it a swear word? What was it?
Yeah, it was. It was like, we're going to need more than this. We're going to need more than this.
It's a good start.
It's a good start, but it's good that it was like, okay, so people believe in this. It's not just us that think it's a good idea. But that money doesn't come from just people thinking it's a good idea. That sort of level of money comes when you start to prove you've got something that people are going to want when it hits the market. That's raising pre-launch as well. Now that we've launched, I'm looking forward to raising again, because actually there's good numbers, there's good metrics, and things are working whilst things haven't worked. It's not been perfect. It's been hard, but I think raising that sort of money again, you need, because you need it to survive. It's food. for the business. It's not, oh God, we got this money, let's go. Like this is what we need to survive. And you've got even $100 grand, £2 million, a pound note is a pound note. It all counts, and it goes way quicker than it comes in. And that's the thing. And obviously you've seen yourself, businesses burn out of cash so quickly because they're not ready or prepped for anything that comes.
And I suppose as soon as you get the money, it's very exciting, but you realize, okay, now I need to deploy it. Now I need to spend it. I want to spend it wisely. You're not always going to hire the right team.
But you don't spend it. I mean, with taking this with a pinch of salt, you don't spend it wisely at the start because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, right? So you have an idea. I mean, we had a really good team. We had you guys, we've got advisors, venue, we got hospitality experts in the business. Still, you get things wrong, staff, tech, ideas, whatever. But then actually when it comes together at the end, now you've got those 5, 6, 7 things that are working, like the tech's fantastic, the bugs are non-existent. You can see what bits are working, what's actually attracting users to book again, dial that out. So you that money is to put the building in place, and then now the money would be for actually growing it and maintaining it and pushing it and dialing up the things that are working. So you're gonna get it wrong, you can't. It's just making sure that you really are careful though and know what's going in and out, because you can get, we didn't, but you can get carried away.
Now, I'm going to ask a question that you are not aware of, and if we have to edit it out, we will. Hopefully we won't.
Yeah.
There's some challenges and obstacles you've faced. There's the conversation we had to have around quitting your job. How did that go down?
Well, considering you asked me that question in front of investors, and I said, I'm not quitting my job. And you went, well, you're going to fail then. It's a tough pill to swallow. I was getting married last year. I'd been in an amazing job that took me 10 years to get to that position. And then for literally having an idea that had been around for 2 months, but still got something going. And then you sat there and went, you have to quit your job. I said, I wanted to quit at the end of the year. And you went, no, you're going to have to quit in February. No, you didn't. You said, I'm going to have to quit in April. And it was January at the time. And I went, I'm not quitting my job. And you went, well, see you later, and walked out of the room. So it wasn't nice.
And I remember in that meeting as well, I said, I need you to get 750 MOUs signed. And you said, how
am I going to do that?
750 signed contracts. I've got a full-time job. What did you do?
Well, what I did was, my commute to work was 2 hours from where I lived to London. And then every day after work, it was November at the time, I started walking around every night after work, going and knocking on restaurant doors to sign my MOUs to make sure that when this app came out that they would use it, and showing as many people as I can the prototype. And then by the time I quit my job, which I wanted to be at the end of the year and you wanted to be May, it was actually January. So I quit my job then. We then went on to sign 1,200 venues up in the 6 months after that, and grew a team. Doubled it. And did that make much difference when you were chatting? Wouldn't have worked. The business wouldn't have worked. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
The big, this huge demand from it proved there was a huge demand from the merchant's perspective. And on challenges and obstacles, I'm going to bring up the billboards and the conversation we had when it was. You could almost say it was a code red email, and we caught up at Radio Rooftop.
That wasn't nice. That was a really it was a bad meeting because it was the first one where we didn't have a drink. Yeah.
You ordered apple juice, orange juice, and I said, I'll have the same. And I suppose, far out. You've come a long way since then, but the conversation was around stop what you're doing immediately, stop deploying these billboards. It's going to screw unit economics. So I suppose for founders out there, what's your advice when it comes to unit economics, your cost per install, not making the same mistake?
So like we had the billboards, and the annoying thing is the billboards were amazing. They went up, and we had loads of people emailing and like messaging us and going, "Oh, we're trying to download your app and we can't because it got delayed things anyway." So it was like a really good thing, but at like just the complete wrong time.
Yeah.
And I guess the thing that I know now is like you have to start with the non-scalable stuff before you can do the nice to haves like PR and billboards and all this stuff, because you can't, one, afford to get it wrong, or two, afford to do it anyway. And the billboard rollout is something you do way down when your thing's working, when actually it works. Right now, the only thing you need to worry about from my point of view as a founder is just making sure when you launch it, your shit works and that people use it. And then every single person, you spend your money on talking to every single person that's using your app, from if it's a consumer app, consumer side, if it's a B2B app, a SaaS platform, that side, marketplace like ours, both sides. Because then you can really spend the money on what matters actually at working. But it was a tough conversation.
Yeah. And I remember
Lou with my tail between my legs.
we won't talk about, how much was spent, but, I just recall saying, you need to be getting installs for £1.
Yeah.
Right now, how many installs are you getting this month? None, because we hadn't gone live. You're just doing a brand awareness campaign. And it was great for brand awareness.
It was great for brand awareness.
What do the VCs want to see? They want to see ROI on every pound.
Every single pound.
Exactly.
So we've revised it, and obviously now we've launched, and we're 7 weeks into launch. And we've had 7,500 downloads. Over 60% of them are then registered, and you've got to register to do anything to actually make a booking. You can go into the app and do whatever you want, but when you go book, it's that. So we put that deep in the app to really get good quality users. But the thing that's the best thing out of it is because we really, that was back in sort of July, August time. We've had them few months of like just really understanding what we need to do. And the stat that's the most important thing is that repeat usage. So that stat's like 55% of people that have booked and booked again. We had one guy go to 4 bars in a night. One guy went to 4 bars in a night.
So, what was he with 2 or 3 people?
4 people. So we made 28. Well, he then booked 4 places at 16. Then he booked again. Yeah. A week later. So that guy's done £28 revenue, just one person, in 4 weeks. So,
lifetime value of a customer.
Well, this is my point. But like Netflix, you probably have it, and people in your family have it. You share the same account, which you split 15 quid before, right? So if I can get this one person to go out 4 times, so now it's, let's get 100 more of him, 1,000 more of him, 20,000 more of him, Exactly. And they're the people you want on the app.
Exactly. So brilliant. Let's rewind back to when we helped you run a focus group. How important is a focus group? What do you remember picking up? What issues did we find?
As a founder, you think you know your app inside out and your product inside out, but until you get it into like the hands of other people, like even within seconds, they're like, "Oh, it'd be good if you can do this," or "What about this?" And you think, "Oh God," because you know your app so well, and they don't. I think it's not just about doing one focus group, it's constant focus groups, and then doing types of focus groups, i.e. calling and speaking and talking to your customers. We did, I said, I understand you can't email and talk to people that haven't consented, but like, we'll buy a meal for someone that just gives us feedback on the app that is booked 2 or 3 times, right? Because we just want to know why and how they're doing it. So that's in itself just a continuous focus group, because in an app like ours, a marketplaces, it does, like, we can build the tech and everything and do all the advertising, but unless people are happy to use it with the iterations and the feel, and even just like button placement, colors is everything, text changes, font.
Yeah. And you want to put everything in your app, but you can't put everything.
Well, I know that very well.
You focus group. I remember there was probably 25 of us in that focus group.
Yeah.
And we walked away after everyone filled out the survey, and we had a really good. We couldn't believe some of the responses.
No.
And 70% of people wanting certain features.
100%.
That really gave us clarity for the next 3 months.
100%.
Dev schedule.
100%. But it gives you build the app because these are the people using it. You can't build what you want. I wasn't fixing a problem that I had experienced in hospitality. I was fixing a problem with a customer, and my job was validating everyone with that problem. And then how do I make it fit this side for this as well? So that was the challenge. It was focus groups both sides.
Big time. So on Apollo, you're now reaching out to investors, VCs. We've introduced you to a few VCs recently. What's your strategy? Obviously, you're now revenue, bookings. It's time to start speaking to VCs. What's going through your head in regards to the pitch? Is it going to be different to when you were pitching to, for the SEAS, the retail investors, and just explain how you think?
I see, because obviously you early invited me into Apollo, and I've seen how many people are joining it. I see it as like a more streamlined version of LinkedIn, where it's only VCs and important people and investors, and they're all there, and they're all responding, and they're all liking your things, and you're posting, and they're getting back to you. It's just kind of where you want to be as a founder that's trying to get out there, because there's nothing harder than raising money and getting in front of the right people. And the fact that there's a platform that does all that for you, that has all these people vetted on there, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And we've had some good connections and great conversations from it. And as a founder, now actually having a business that has some unit economics that are only very small, and obviously we're only just started, but these people get it. And they're the right kind of people you need to be in front of.
Yeah. I don't want to sell Apollo, too much, but obviously I'm very passionate about what we're doing right now. And what does frustrate me a lot in the industry is people that say they're investors, but they're time wasters.
But you see what you just said there about this frustrated me. That's the whole, I think, they're like energy or reason that people start business or do something anyway. Like, you've got a business, you've got hyper that puts people like me on the map and get these people to build these businesses, and yet you've seen the other struggle is the time wasters, the wrong VCs, the wrong institutions, and you've amalgamated and aggregated the right ones into something that's putting them together, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. One of the qualifying questions we're asking is, are you an active investor, and how many investments did you make last year? That really wipes out a lot of... On LinkedIn, there's a million people that say they're investors, but actually only 1% made an investment last year. So from my perspective, on Apollo Investor Pro section, every investor has to be active.
They're responsive as well, and they can come and ask you questions. And it's just about, a lot of it, obviously, they're monitoring what you're doing as well. So it's just as important for a founder or a business to be active in it as well.
Brilliant.
Because these people do look, and there is still money out there.
Now, one of the last questions, what's the next 5 years look like? Are you thinking about an exit? Are you thinking about the stock market? Are you thinking about an acquisition? Is that going through your mind?
Yeah. I know where I want this business to get to, and where I want to not say get out, I know where I want to be in it, and where I'll be at my... this is my first... I've had businesses, like side businesses and my own sort of online things as a kid, young 20s. This is the first business I've had where I've got real investment, real money, and I'm on this incredible journey, and every day is fantastic. And actually, what I can see now with it out there is a very good roadmap 3-5 years ahead. I want to be on this growth until I will know the right time what to do with the business and when it is for me. It's what I want to do. But the exciting thing is I'm 27, and if I can really maximize this over the next 5 years and then decide, then I'm in a good position to look at other things, do what you've done, and use all this experience. Because what I've learned in a year from leaving my job is 10 times more than anything I've ever done. So, and I think it's just the excitement of just getting better and more grounded and just really doing something like this.
It really is rapid career.
It's nuts. It's hard though, it's stressful.
Yeah. And on that, it's hard. Mentally, it's a roller coaster. You have good days, you have bad days. That probably leads on to having a co-founder, Jed. And he's been amazing. I watch you guys, the way you guys interact, the way you guys bounce off each other, the way you both manage your own departments. Tell me about having a business partner? Is it critical?
Yeah. I don't think opinions. I just don't know how you do it without a co-founder. Some people have had bad experiences where they've met someone in a job, they're both from the same industry and did it, and then it's not worked out, or you've met someone along the way that was really good in one side, you're really good in the other. Oh, let's be co-founders. And that was a thing for us, is because we're best friends. Like, we've been best mates since we were 10, so like 17, 18 years, right? But he's really good at the stuff that I'm really bad at. And it's not that he's not good at the stuff that I am, but to be honest with you, I can't do what he does. I just can't get my head around the processes and the things that he has in place and how he does them. He's very pragmatic. And we complement each other well. And 100%, but he'll say the same. The business wouldn't be where it is without each other. Like, we both quit very high paying. I mean, he had his own business. He quit his own business. It was only a lot of money to do this. So we've both put in the same risk and time, and I think that's helped as well, because we contributed the same. We both raised money. We both quit the same money to do this, and that, I think, is obviously very important as well. It's very equal.
Amazing. So you've got quite a bit of runway now. You're looking to open up your next investment round in May?
We don't. I've not put timestamps on raising. You never know when. The way that we've done it is just if there's good money there and it's not heavy dilutions and it's at a good price and there's a reason for it. It's not just opening the doors for something that's going to buy you 2 weeks or a month. If you go, okay, this is going to open the doors for a good few months and this connection and this network, then it's worth doing. So it's kind of, you're never not raising. But we've started to, because there's been quite good PR, EU Startups, Evening Standard, tech rounds. So there's been a lot of press that's kind of got a bit of buzz. So it's been good to sort of have some more conversations.
Amazing. And UK rolling out up to 1,000 venues this year. What's next? What country? You obviously, as you're scaling a business, it's all about land grabbing, first mover advantage. Is the US next?
The thing is about this business is I think about it all the time is, where some businesses have struggled is like in a marketplace I'm talking about is the supplier power. So there's marketplace apps that have maybe 5 or 8 businesses plugged into it, and if one of those businesses fall off, it's a big loss. With something like ours, the good thing comes at the end, which is the more venues you get on, the better. And if 1 or 2 or 10% drop off, your business still exists because you've got that and you're constantly growing. It's not one person drops, everyone does. So for me, is showing that we can get it going in London and making a strong playbook. Like, we're already doing things like venues are signing up themselves without any human intervention. Businesses are ordering, Ambl brands for their venues to drive their own bookings. So it's those sort of green shoots that are helping create this sort of strong playbook to show that it works in London, which then means that we can take it nationally. And because of some of the groups that we have in London that have an international presence, it then makes sense to start the footprint there. I'd love to go to New York after this. Yes, but the nice thing is with, again, going back to my point of, because it's a tech app, and once we get it really going here, it's, we're building still here, it then means almost more of a transferring rather than a building up again.
Maybe replicate, connect to a local,
get the venues on, heavy marketing, get promotion, and go. I mean, look, it's not going to be easy. It's way easier said than done. But at least we know it will work here and the traction's there, and then take it international.
Brilliant. Now, last question. What's your advice for any founder that is in the idea phase, hasn't started doing anything yet? What's the first thing they should do? What's the kind of documentation they should urgently look to get together? What really benefited you?
I think if you've got an idea and you've done nothing about it, what else you meant? Like, what would you expect? I think if you've got an idea and you've done something about it, even just making a logo, even just writing down the business model, it doesn't need a 20-page business plan because it will change the week after. But if you've written down, if you've identified a problem and you think you've got a solution that will be a revenue generative business, that is all you need, and the story of why you're doing it, then that's all you need. Yes, of course, you need to think about financially, if you can do it. Some people can do it and still work full time. I couldn't. Some people can, and that's okay. You can always get someone else to run the business for you and raise money for that. So I think if you've got an idea and you do those things of just getting it on paper, get the story, product, solution, and the business model there, you can then figure out that, do I leave? Do I not leave? Do I get someone else to do it? Do I not? But then it's how many times you go, oh, I can't because of this. It is what it is. And it comes down to your mindset of whether you're ready just to go, fuck it and go for it.
Love it.
Have to.
Awesome. Well, I know you're a busy man, so we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming on our Apollo's first show for 2023. And very excited to watch what happens over the next year and beyond.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much for coming.